Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a huge idea using a very modern lens. What if our reality isn't what it seems? What if it's the ultimate open world game? So let's just jump right in with a big one. Are you living in a computer simulation? Now, that question feels super modern, right? Something born from our digital age. But what if I told you the core idea is actually thousands of years old? The modern spin on this comes from the philosopher Nick Bostrom, and his argument is basically a numbers game. He says, look, if any civilization ever gets advanced enough to create truly convincing, conscious simulations, they'd probably make tons of them, billions maybe. So what are the odds that we're in the one single original base reality? Statistically, not great. And this is where things get really interesting, because this cutting-edge, high-tech hypothesis has this incredible, profound parallel in an ancient Indian philosophy called Vedanta. It's almost like ancient sages and today's top software engineers were looking at the very same blueprint for reality. Okay, let's dive into level 1 of this idea. To really get a handle on the Vedanta operating system, you have to think of reality like a video game. First, we need to tell the difference between what's happening on the screen and the code that's running everything in the background. So Vedanta makes this really key distinction, right? There's the world we perceive, all the people, the places, the stuff, and then there's the fundamental reality it all springs from. Think of our world as the user interface. The graphics on the screen, it looks and feels totally real, but it's just a representation of something way deeper, the source code. In Vedanta, that entire user interface, the game world, that's called Maya. Now, you often hear Maya translated as illusion, but honestly, that kind of misses the point. A much better way to think about it, using our analogy, is as the graphics engine. It's this incredibly powerful process that takes one single reality and just renders it into the complex, colorful 3D world we all experience. So if Maya is the graphics engine, what's it rendering from? What is the source code? Well, that's Brahman. In this model, Brahman is the infinite underlying field of pure consciousness. It's the OS, the fundamental operating system. It's kind of like the cloud that hosts every single player's game session. It isn't a thing in the game. It's the very fabric that allows the game to exist in the first place. So if the world is the game's graphics, and it's all being rendered from one single source code, that leads us to the biggest, most crucial question of all. Who, or what, are you in this whole setup? And this is where Vedanta points to this huge, fundamental mix-up, a case of mistaken identity that, well, basically all of us have fallen for. We've gotten so sucked into the game, so immersed, that we've totally forgotten who's actually holding the controller. See, we mistake ourselves for the jiva. That's our in-game avatar. The jiva has the name, the body, the ego, the personality. It's got a health bar and a whole list of quests. It feels all the ups and downs of the game, right? The wins, the losses. But according to Vedanta, our true nature is the Atman, the player. The player is that quiet, pure consciousness that's just watching the screen, completely untouched by whatever happens to the avatar. There's this amazing saying in Vedanta, Tat Twam Asi, which means thou art that. In our analogy, think of this like a system notification that pops up on your screen right in the middle of a boss fight. It's a little reminder from the game's developers saying, hey, psst, you are the player, remember? Not the little character you're running around with. All right, let's move on to level 3 and look at the rules of this cosmic game. I mean, if reality is a simulation, it has to have some kind of internal logic, right? A set of mechanics that makes everything work. The most famous of these mechanics is karma. But here's the thing. Karma isn't some moral judge in the sky handing out rewards and punishments. It's way simpler than that. It's just the game's physics engine. It's a basic if-then logic loop coded right into the system. An action happens, a consequence follows. Period. So here's how it works. Your avatar performs an action. The game's logic automatically records that cause and its effect in your user profile. Then, when your avatar's health bar reaches 0, game over. But it's not really over. The system just initiates a respawn. And this cycle of rebirth, known as samsara, keeps going, starting a new game session that's influenced by the data from your last one. So, why do we keep respawning over and over? Well, it's 'cause we get totally lost in the side quests, right? Chasing wealth, status, pleasure. But like any good RPG, this game has a main storyline, a final objective. The main quest in the game of life is to achieve moksha, or liberation. And this isn't about the avatar dying for good. It's the ultimate exit command. Moksha is that incredible aha moment when you wake up inside the simulation. It's realizing your true identity as the player, even while the game continues all around you. And once you realize it's all a game, you can keep playing, but the anxiety and the attachment to what happens to your avatar, it just dissolves. You become a master player. You can engage with the world with this incredible sense of freedom and lightness, knowing that your true self can never be harmed by what happens on screen. So you've got this unbelievably detailed framework from thousands of years ago. And what's just mind-blowing is how this ancient model is now being explored and, in a lot of ways, echoed through the lens of modern science and technology. I mean, take quantum physics, where the very act of observing an experiment seems to change the outcome. Or look at interface theory, which argues our senses didn't evolve to show us reality, but to give us a simplified user interface for survival. And then, of course, there's virtual reality, where labs are literally creating digital environments designed to dissolve the boundary between self and world. Just listen to what a participant in one of these VR studies said. This technology itself is forcing us to ask the exact same questions the Vedantic sages were asking. The more convincing our own simulations become, the more we have to question the nature of our real experience. Which brings us to this strange and wonderful paradox. We are essentially building a simulation, virtual reality, to help us understand that we may already be in a simulation, the physical world. We're using a new form of Maya to see through the original one. And that leaves us with a final provocative thought. Whether you see this as ancient philosophy or a modern hypothesis, this framework offers a powerful new perspective on life, on suffering, on identity. It reframes everything as a grand cosmic game. So the only question left is, how will you choose to play?